Hi Jose,
No.
you've obviously got a very rich history in the Champions League. Can you explain how you feel about this competition and how you feel Tottenham can do in this competition this year?
I love the competition as much as everyone in football. It's something that everybody dreams about winning it, and not everyone has the privilege to be a Champions League winner, which I was happy enough to do it twice. Do I want to win it for a third time? Of course, I would love it, but I know the difficulties of it. And in this moment, honestly, is not the moment to speak about it. It's the moment to qualify. Plenty of experience in the competition. I think is my game 148. And I think one of the reasons why my teams were never out in the group phase was exactly because we always thought about the group phase, and we never thought about what could happen after the group phase. 6 matches, in our case 2 matches to qualify, and that needs to be our focus. We need to focus on these 2 matches, and tomorrow is one that can give us the qualification, and we have to understand that it's not an easy match. Good opponent, good coach that I know well. We drew in Athens. That shows that there is not a big decalage between the 2 teams. So a difficult one for us, but hopefully we can get the result we need to qualify.
Jose, your predecessor Mourinho suggested that part of the reason for the team's struggles this season was a kind of hangover and come down from losing the Champions League final. In your short time here, have you picked up on that at all? Is that something you suspect might be the case?
No, if Mauricio says that, he knows. I think if he tells that, it's based on experience that he lived here, and probably he's also sharing a little bit of his own feelings when you are almost landing on the moon and you don't do it. I believe that the frustration is very, very high, but at the same time you look to a team like Liverpool, and they also had the frustration of not winning a final, and then the next season they reach the final for the second time and they win the competition. So I think depends a lot on the people's mentality and the way you react to such a big disappointment. And I can imagine that to lose an European Cup final has to be a big disappointment.
Okay, go to the Moose.
Jose, you were the last away manager to manage at White Hart Lane. I know you've been to the new stadium, but just give us an idea of how excited you are ahead of your first game as Spurs manager at the new ground, which is probably the best ground in the world.
So you want to remember me that I lost that match?
No. No, not again. No. I'm just reminding you that you did manage at White Hart Lane. Forget when it was.
I know. I played there many times, obviously as an opponent. I did it with 3 different clubs. I did it also in the Champions League. I won, I lost, I drew. I always loved it. There are a few stadiums where you always enjoy. Of course, you want to win, but you always enjoy the atmosphere. You always envy the support that your opponent, in this case, has. And many times I played there, I felt envy of such a strong and passionate support. I can imagine, also because I've been there as a football lover, but I've been in the new stadium to watch Spurs Newcastle, and I felt it. And the game, of course, was not good for us, was a bad result, but I felt that the relation between the fans and the team, and the pride for that new home, because in the end you always miss your old home, but if you change for better or for much better, you don't miss it so much and you embrace your new home. So I think that's what happened with the fans. I think they just love the team, love the club, love the stadium, and I believe that that tomorrow can be the restart of that empathy between the supporters and the team, an empathy that with bad results, you lose a little bit. So let's hope that tomorrow can be the start of that empathy coming back, with the players' happiness and good feeling to play at home and to feel that the supporters are playing with them and make them stronger. So hopefully tomorrow is a good start. We play two home matches in 3 days. I think if you can make it good, win matches, play well, score goals, showing commitment, happiness, desire, I think would be a good period for us to go back to that empathy between the players and the fans.
You mentioned that empathy. The fans sang your name at West Ham on Saturday after the victory. They've taken to you straight away.
I didn't go there because I felt I shouldn't. I felt I wanted the players to be the guys, and they are the guys. So I didn't want to go where the fans were. I just waved from the outside. Obviously, it's a good feeling. I want obviously to thank, but again, it's not about me. It's about the players, about the team. So if I could choose between another Jose song and players' songs and Spurs songs, I would obviously go in that direction. It's not about me. I am like them. I'm outside the pitch. They want to help the team to win, and they do it with their heart. I want to help the team to win with my passion and also with my knowledge and my experience. But everything is about the players. So I hope that they do that. I hope that they make the players feel that they are with them and they want to win. And as I was saying, three important days for us with 2 matches that we should win. So hopefully it goes well.
Hi, Jose.
Hello.
Hi. You spoke very warmly about Maurizio Pochettino. He speaks very warmly about you, considers you a friend. Have you had any communication with him since you've taken over?
I didn't because I know what he's feeling. I've been there. And I know that there is a period where the best thing for us sometimes is to process our feelings, to process what happened with us, and then in a couple of weeks, depends, 2-3 weeks, I think then we are open again to the world, we are open again to embrace a different period in our life. So I want to respect that and to give that feeling to him. But I spoke with his son, which is a player in our youth categories, and I think through his boy he can understand my feelings too. And of course I will call him, but I want to let him process. I also told the players to be the players in contact with him, to make him feel completely free to come here anytime he wants. If he wants to come for a training session, great. If he wants to come for a dinner in the lodge with the boys, perfect. If he wants me to be, I will. If he doesn't want me to be and he wants to be just with the boys, let's do that way. So I just want him to feel that this house belongs to him. 5.5 years in football now is long time. So he must feel completely free to do what he wants to do in relation to the players and the staff and the club.
With that in mind, would you probably wait for him to make the first move because he's the one?
No, it's not about the first move or the second move. If he wants to come, he can come. Not tonight. because the boys will not be here. But if he wants to come tomorrow, he can come tomorrow. He can come when he wants. If he decides not to come, which is something normal, and he meets the players outside, he meets the players in his house, he goes out with players for dinner, that's also perfectly fine. And I will contact him when I feel that space, I needed a little bit of space to process things. When I left previous clubs, it's not in 5 or 6 days that you are again open. You take a little bit of time to process things, to understand, to think and rethink and speak with a pillow. And in a couple of weeks, you will be fine, and I will call him.
Okay, question from Matt.
Jose, I respect that your focus is on trying to qualify from the group, first of all. But Maurizio last season said it would have been a miracle to win the Champions League with this club. Do you think it would take a miracle to win the Champions League with Tottenham?
Sometimes we use words. Sometimes we use words to try to describe things, but the words, they don't reflect exactly what it is. I would change a miracle by very difficult. I wouldn't use the word miracle, but probably I did it also a few times. Sometimes we do that. I think obviously there are teams with a different culture of victory. There are clubs and teams with a different potential, with a different experience, with a different know-how. I think all of that at this level plays a role. But with these boys, I will never be afraid of any Champions League match that comes to our faces. Again, I repeat, we need to qualify. That's the focus. I always say that not even in the last 16 I used to think about winning. It's only when my teams arrive in quarterfinals where I start having the feeling that we can do it. Still far, but on quarterfinals, last stage, I start thinking that we have a chance. But in this moment, I think we are really, really far from it. We have to qualify. But as I was saying, give me time to work, give me time to develop my ideas with these boys, and I will have no problem at all to go to any stadium to play against any big opponent in Europe or in England, and we are not going to be afraid of anyone.
Okay, take a question right there. Yep.
Jose, I know you said last week that you were very pleased with your squad, but since you have a rather strong connection to Zlatan Ibrahimovic, who is currently on the market, is there any possibility of him joining Tottenham anytime soon?
You are right about the connection. I would even say more than connection. I would say also passion, understanding. Amazing player, amazing guy, but I would say no. I would say no chances. We have the best striker in England. We have one of the top 2-3 strikers in the world. Doesn't make any sense of a striker of Zlatan's dimension. Obviously, on his late 30s, but still a striker that can play in any club in the world. Doesn't make sense to come to a club where we have Harry Kane.
Okay, take a question from Tiago down here. Josh, if you pass the microphone. Thank you.
Hello, José Mourinho. We are live to Portugal. Just to say that a few moments ago, our president, Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa, salutes you and gives you a big hug and told us that he admires you a lot. My question is about Portuguese coaches. Yesterday, Carlos Carvalhal told that Portuguese coaches are almost the kings of the world because Mourinho is the king of Europe, 2 champions and 2 Europa League. No one before has won it. Manuel José, king of Africa, and now Jorge Jesus, the king of Americas. what are your opinion about this great achievement of Portuguese coaches and more recently about Jorge Jesus?
Now that one thing is we cannot deny. So a Portuguese coach was champion of Europe, a Portuguese coach was champion of Africa, a Portuguese coach was an American or South American champion. So that is a reality. You know that I am really, really 100% Portuguese, but I don't like that we are the best coaches, we are this. No. There are many good coaches around the world. The quality is not about nationality, and I'm just really happy that we have good coaches, and at different levels we have good prestige, and with good things that we do, we open doors for new generations, we open opportunities to other people, and I know that in this moment there are so many Portuguese coaches around the world, and that if I have any responsibility on that makes me really happy. In the case of Jorge to win the Copa Libertadores with Flamengo, I'm happy for him, and that's it.
Okay, we're going to finish with Matt. Ali, there's a gentleman at the back that wants a question. Then we've got a question from Sammy as well. Okay, that'll be the last four. Matt, do you want to go first down here? Thank you.
Jose, even the greatest actors in the world feel nervous ahead of a new show opening. I just wondered, are you feeling any butterflies ahead of your home unveiling? And given this is a fresh start, how much could a triumphant first night go towards making the new stadium the sort of fortress that perhaps it hasn't yet become?
I have a good record in that stadium. One match, one victory with the Inter legends, where we had so much fun. No, seriously, I'm not nervous. I'm never nervous. I always feel just a little desire of the match should be tonight and not tomorrow. This waiting time is the thing that I don't like. I don't say nervous. Too many matches, too much experience to feel that way. So no butterflies, nothing strange. But it's good to start winning like we did in the last match. If you can win at home the first game, obviously is also important. But I always say the first match of my career as a head coach, I lost. And I couldn't imagine in that moment that my career would bring as much success. The 2 seasons where I won the treble, Porto and Inter, I start with a draw, and a draw at home. So 2 bad results, and we won everything. But, you know, you want to be strong, you want to win matches. Our stadium is the best stadium in the world. Probably other stadiums, they still have 10,000 more or 15,000 more spectators, but this is the best stadium in the world. I don't want to say the best fans in the world, because if I say that, people will say immediately, oh, he's saying that because he wants the Tottenham fans to love him immediately. So I'm not going to say that, but we have very, very strong fans, great mentality, great support. They go to football matches and they try to enjoy, like they did against West Ham. I could understand perfectly that they enjoy the match. So we are going to try to have a good result, to qualify. And as I was saying, part of our vision for the club, part of the club culture also, and that's always what we try to do. We try to win, we try to play well, we try to play good football, to play attractive, to play attacking like we did in the other days. So many chances to score, complete control of the game. So that's what we are going to try. Let's see if Olympiacos, if they are good guys, and they let us do that.
Okay, Ali, over here.
Jose, you said on Saturday that when it comes to Christian Eriksen, you need to know what's in his heart and his head about Tottenham. Have you spoken to him at all since then, or is this going to be a longer process?
Yeah, I spoke with him. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you our conversation. Only me and him, we know what we spoke about. And Amazon, because I'm always connected with the cables, so they also listen to everything I say, everything I do. But the important thing is that he's committed with us. So let's not talk about his future. Let's not talk about what is going to happen. Is he leaving? Is he staying? Let's talk about his commitment for the club and for the colleagues and for the project, and he's with us. My decisions about starting, not starting him, select, not select, will be based on a perspective of a future. I cannot hide that. Will be also based on a perspective of future. We have a present, and in football we have to focus on the present, in this case on tomorrow. But it's a club where you have to think about the future, and these important decisions, obviously they have an influence on my decisions as a head coach. But the important thing is that Christian staying or leaving is that kind of guy that easily I could understand. Proper guy, loves the club, loves the colleagues, amazing colleague in the dressing room. So doesn't matter what, is one of us until the last day.
Okay, two more. One from the gentleman at the back. If you raise your hand so we can see you. Thank you. And then we'll finish with Sammy down here.
Hello, I'm from Greece. First of all, it's nice to have you back.
Thank you.
For Greeks, I speak from Greek side, in football grounds, inside. It's the first time you're playing against Olympiacos. So, obviously, you didn't have a lot of time to study about the team, to learn about the team. The question is, what difficulties you expect tomorrow to face against, if there is any player that wants special attention from you, and especially against your compatriot Pedro Martins.
Yeah, I didn't Olympiacos in 148 matches in the Champions League and a few more in Europa League. Never Olympiacos, but Greek teams, yes. I played Panathinaikos a few times. Never Olympiacos. In this moment, we have quite a history of Portuguese coaches in your country, you know, not just national team, but also some good friends of mine, Peseiro, Fernando Santos, all of them there, and now probably in these two top clubs, Olympiacos, PAOK, two other Portuguese guys. So I follow. But of course, I was not close to imagine that I was going to play against Olympiacos, so I didn't watch it with a big focus. Last season, I saw them playing against Burnley. I was in the stadium. They were already with Pedro, so the philosophy, the vision, the way to play is already there. And obviously we did the homework. We have a fantastic staff here, not just the assistants I brought, but also a nice structure that the club has in place on analyze and IT people available to adapt to my way of work. So we did our homework. I respect Olympiacos as a team more than to focus on a player. Would be easier and probably nice for me to tell a few names, especially the Portuguese boys. Would be nice for them. I don't do that. I focus on the players globally. Team result. We drew. We didn't win. Was not an easy match for us in Athens. So I'm not expecting an easy game too. But we want to play well. We want to play well, and we did it for 65 minutes against West Ham and away of home. So hopefully tomorrow we can extend that period of time even longer. And again, with such a strong support behind, we must do it tomorrow. I think that's the way we have to think. We have to forget that we have a second chance in Munich. We have to forget that there is a second match and this one is not the match point, but we have to play like it is the match point. We have to get the result tomorrow.
Okay, Sammy with the last one just here.
Jose, just from the outside looking in last season, what were your reflections on the club's run to the Champions League final? And now you've had some time to work with the players. Do you feel any differently about that run? Did you think that maybe that they overachieved last season, but now you've worked with them, you can see how they managed to get to the final?
I think Champions League and every knockout competition, there are details that are responsible sometimes for your success or your failure, if you want to call it a failure. The reality is that we start this competition with 32 teams in the group phase. So if you want to speak about failure and success, is success for one and 31 failure. That's a pragmatic but not a fair way to say it. Details make the difference. How many times I won in the last minute, how many times I lost in penalties, how many times details make the difference historically. So details sometimes make the difference, and a team does something magnificent when everything is going on its side, and sometimes you don't do it when you have an incredible potential to do it. In my case, for example, the season where I lost semi-finals on penalties with Real Madrid, I think that was the strongest Real Madrid of the past 15 or 20 years. We won the league with 100 points. We won the league with 126 goals. We won the league against the best Barcelona in their history. We did an amazing run in the Champions League. We go to the semi-finals. We lose on penalties in a penalty shootout where three of the best penalty takers in the world, Kaká, Ramos and Ronaldo, they all miss. We were the best team. We were the best team. We didn't win it. So sometimes details make a difference. In case of Spurs last season, just the fact to reach the final is amazing achievement. No doubts that is an amazing achievement. They had little details that were with them. You know, the VAR, of course, was a good decision, but the VAR decision against City, of course, they fought for it. But the Lucas goal in Amsterdam, they had these little details that were side to side with them. But it doesn't matter what, to arrive in the final is an incredible achievement, but is not history. History is win.